What's up, YouTube? It's the Dead Man back again, here with another rant. And the issue I want to talk about today is, well, it's kind of a twofold issue: personal responsibility and leadership. Now, first, personal responsibility. You have a certain amount of leaders and people out there that like to talk about personal responsibility, which entails you being responsible for what you do. Not making excuses, not blaming the other fella, not blaming any other outside force for a decision you made. I have no problem with that. That makes a whole lot of sense to me. But then these same leaders want to turn right around and go on a talk show or write a book or go on a radio program and then assign blame to pop culture, hip hop, movies, etc. They want to go and blame them for children being the way they are now and for society being the way it is now. And I find that laughable because, you know, the only person you can control is you. See, as a hip hop artist, I'm going to say what I want to say when I want to say it. That is my choice. You also have a choice. You can choose not to purchase it. You can choose not to listen. And another choice that you have is that you can stop giving away your power as a parent to pop culture. And what I mean by that is, you know, you wasting a whole lot of energy protesting and picketing rappers and going on talk shows and things of this nature, when the power is in your hands to make sure your child isn't influenced by these things. Because check this out, I don't live in your house. No rapper lives in your house. You're the parent, you're in there the majority of the time. A 3-minute rap song, if that can influence your child, then evidently you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not putting principles in the child's head. And I gotta tell you, you're not gonna like it, but the truth is, parents are the single worst influence on their kids. You curse in front of, you exhibit and display all kinds of negative behavior in front of them. It's simple. You nurture that environment in your household. When I was growing up, the reason I'm such an avid reader now is because my mother made sure we had books all in that house. We had 2 sets of encyclopedias and a science encyclopedia. Someone was always reading in that house. And when we had a question and we thought we could just go to my mother and ask her and she would give us the answer, you know what she was turning around and say to us? Boy, I spent all that money on those encyclopedias. You better go over there and pick that book up. Because in my house, the household I grew up in, education was valued. So no singer, no rapper, no movie actress or actor had more influence over me than my mother and my grandfather. So for you guys to rant and rave about how the rappers are doing this and the rappers are doing that, that's a poor excuse, piss poor excuse for you not taking care of your kids. You influenced them more than we ever could. So when you finish having a pity party and wringing your hands and finish with all this blame game, the only person you should be pointing at is yourself. You screwed your kid up. Now, this leadership thing. A lot of the people that are going around making big money and getting big publicity off the blame game are these self-appointed leaders. You know, the guys that run the cult of personality, of which a lot of you are members, because you feel as though that because this person is famous, what he has to say has more value than someone that isn't. You know, leadership is not something that you're supposed to give away to somebody else. You're supposed to be your own leader, because only sheep need a shepherd. There's no way you can tell me that it took Bill Cosby to tell you that you shouldn't go to jail. It took Bill Cosby to tell you you should get an education. Because if that's the case, you're a sorry excuse for hearing me. You're a sorry excuse for an adult. Because you had to wait for somebody to get on television to tell you that. And then you wonder why your kids are picking up things off of television because you're picking up things off of television. That's a pile of crap, man. We live in a country where 1 out of every 100 men are incarcerated. That's over 1 million people, and that's more than any other country on the planet. So clearly there is a problem here. But for you to try to place that problem on the doorstep of hip-hop, you real funny. I think you need to come a little better than that. See, what's really going on is your so-called self-appointed leaders, they haven't done a damn thing to change anything. Every tactic they've tried hasn't worked. Because if they're telling me that the problem has become progressively worse, that means, and yet they still say that they're on the forefront trying to change things and have been doing this for years and the problem's getting worse, then all this stuff is happening on their watch. Because they're using tactics from the 60s to address a modern day problem. And it's not working. See, right now, personal responsibility is all that matters. Because you cannot control how someone else thinks. You cannot control the actions of another person. You can only control yourself. You can only control that which is in your household, that which is within your sphere of influence. And if everybody just did that, if everybody just took responsibility from themselves and for the children they brought into this world, then maybe a lot of these problems would go away. They probably wouldn't go away completely because this is human nature we're talking about. People will always kill, people will always steal, people will always lie, people will always be cruel. Ever has that been the way? That is part of the human condition. So that's not going to go anywhere no time soon. But we probably could lessen a lot of the stuff, a lot of the pain and the suffering if people just accept personal responsibility for themselves and their children. And stop blaming rappers, or movie actors, or video games, or comic books, or anything else that you can think to point at to distract from the fact that you're not doing what you're supposed to do.